Zoom room to another Go live session. Let's start off as usual with our email for today, which has a daily quote, some teaching around that. Today's theme is all about rest. So that'll lead us nicely into today's lesson. 120, our last review lesson for today. So let me share my screen with you. Okay, so let me know when you can see it. You can read that headline quote when you can see it. There you go.
Prayer is a bridge from your mess to God's rest.
It's a very simple quote, isn't it? But very profound. Right? So when you pray, you access this the rest that today's review lesson talks about, a rest in God. You access that, and I thought that picture, it's a sort of a bridge over to a Zen garden. Somehow we've got to find our way from wherever we are in a state of inturbulation, our mess, to God's rest. And prayer, as in the true sense of the word, is what takes us there. So let's go into it. Today's quote on a Monday, which is when the working week starts for most people, is really a great reminder to rest from time to time. Why is that? Because when we rest, we reconnect with the life force that sustains us and restores and replenishes our energy. Research shows that top performers and leaders in every area of life know how to pulse their energy. So they operate at a high level for short periods of time, and then they rest to recover their energy. Because no one can go full on all the time. Many other studies show the benefits of resting during the day for short intervals in different ways, ranging from going for a walk to taking a power nap and then meditating. They've done studies on this. So one study of workers in a meat processing plant showed that 4 9-minute breaks taken at regular intervals throughout the day improved the workers' productivity significantly. So even though they'd taken 36 minutes out of their working day, their productivity in that day increased significantly, which is very significant research. And there's also a mountain of evidence showing the profound benefits of regular meditation. Researchers reviewed more than 200 studies of mindfulness, which is the modern term for the ancient Buddhist Vipassana meditation practice, in which you observe your breath and body sensations, and found mindfulness-based therapy was especially effective for reducing stress, anxiety, and depression. There's a huge amount of research in the last 20, 30 years that's been done on this subject. And some of it has looked at people with depression. Several studies have found, for example, that mindfulness-based cognitive therapy can significantly reduce the rate of relapse in people who have had previous episodes of major depression. And mindfulness can also help treat people with other specific problems, such as chronic pain, smoking, and other addictions. For example, studies have shown that mindfulness reduces the level of pain, fatigue, and stress in people with chronic pain. It also shows that mindfulness-based interventions can also improve our general physical health. Studies have found preliminary evidence that mindfulness boosts the immune system, helps people more quickly from colds or flu, which is particularly relevant given what happened during the COVID pandemic. That is the case, but you didn't find it being recommended, that this kind of thing, by most healthcare professionals. The powers that be were not saying, well, that's fine, use the time, sit quietly at home, get into a good meditation practice, meditate twice a day. It's going to help you enormously to get through the difficulty and the stress. The official advice was just to do things like on the level of form, clean your hands and take the vaccine, rather than do anything with the mind. So these empirical research findings support the benefit of doing 1 or 2 longer meditations every day, as well as resting for short periods regularly throughout the day to reflect on your daily workbook lesson, as Yeshua recommends you do. So interesting that the research supports what this program is based on. You've got a longer form of meditation every morning and evening that Yeshua recommends you do with the lesson, and then you've got these shorter breath breaks, short practice periods, as he calls them, during the day, where you just practice the lesson, you kind of top yourself up. And this will help you contemplate and apply the daily workbook lesson. So if you listen to the recordings that I send you, both the longer meditations, morning and evening, and then the breath breaks, you'll be getting all the benefits of an optimal mindfulness program. That's getting you to meditate for longer periods to set you into that peaceful state, and that effect will last often several hours, and then you're getting the effect of just topping up frequently during the day with these shorter breath breaks. As the research showed, 4 9-minute breaks, not very long, were enough to increase those workers' productivity compared with those who didn't have the breaks. So the idea is that you become more focused, more effective, calmer, clearer, and on a practical level, if you are working and having to perform, then you become it's better performance. So it takes courage and a profound shift of mindset that should be to value rest in a way that practically integrates it into your daily life. So this 16-minute TED Talk, I think you'll find interesting. It was given by an Australian lady, I think in her late 20s, early 30s, who had been one of these hyperactive overachiever types, who started businesses when she was in her teens, and then grew them, and she was really successful on one level, but really spiritually disconnected from her source. And so she described an incident where she was catching a plane from Sydney to Los Angeles, which is about a 15-hour flight. And she said she just started crying before she got on the plane, and she carried on crying for the entire 15 hours. And she didn't really know why. And that was just some kind of release mechanism. It was years and years of not listening to her deeper self, her soul, or her spirit, and just working, and not resting. And to recover from that, she took a year off, and she said she went to the US, she spent some time with friends, and she just sat in their back garden and did nothing for months. So it was just resting, reflecting, just sitting there and resetting into, back into herself, just through the power of rest. And, now her new career is teaching people the power of rest from that experience. And that's how life works in terms of a higher purpose. It's like her greatest challenge was that, and yet that also becomes the source of her purpose, which is how it works. And then this brings us to our discussion. I just want to talk a bit about prayer, because that brings us back to the quote. We talked about rest and those ideas, and I think that's fairly obvious to anyone who's who's done any meditation, any kind of mindfulness practice, that these things do make a difference. So they do really help your state of mind and your well-being. If you don't do them, then you end up usually getting much more stressed, much more easily. But the idea of prayer is a bridge from your mess to God's rest. So what is true prayer? Is prayer just asking? You say, please God, give me peace, or please God, give me, anything that I think I need? Or is there a deeper kind of prayer? Kind of prayer that we looked at yesterday. The prayer of the heart, that I might just actually bring that up if I've got it. There we go, day 84. So in this one, we talk about prayer as a way of asking for something. In fact, read that. Right? We didn't do this yesterday, so I just want to go through this.
Yeah. Prayer is a way of, prayer is a way of asking for something. It is the medium of miracles. But the only meaningful prayer is for forgiveness, because those who have been forgiven have everything. Once forgiveness has been accepted, prayer in the usual sense becomes utterly meaningless. The prayer for forgiveness is nothing more than a request that you may be able to recognize what you already have.
Yeah, I think that states it really well. What is true prayer is this idea of forgiving. True prayer is never about asking for anything from God, or as people with a more so-called New Age perspective would call it, the universe. Rather, it's about letting go of all your expectations of any specific outcome on the level of form, and surrendering to what Yeshua calls the will of God in A Course in Miracles, or what some New Age teachings call universal mind. So the simple formula for true prayer in only 5 words is let go and let God, or if you prefer a more New Age way of saying the same thing, let go and find your flow. When you let go, you activate this power we call spirit to come through, and it guides your thoughts and your words and your actions, and you end up in the state of flow where it's not really you trying to interfere and control. We talked about that earlier. My experience, with some of these business deals, guys come in, they're trying to interfere and control, and it's completely against the principles of flow. That kind of control and interference is the opposite, and it tends to sabotage the flow. When flow happens, then things happen, and then positive things happen in the world. Results tend to manifest. When flow doesn't happen, then there's this block really in the system, and this is what the Apostle Paul meant when he urged the early Christians in Thessalonica to pray without ceasing, as recorded in the Bible in 1 Thessalonians. Praying without ceasing may seem like an impossible task if you perceive prayer in the traditional way. In other words, you're asking God or the universe, which is then by implication external to and separate from you in your perception, for something you think you need or want. But if you accept Yeshua's definition of prayer in today's quote, and you continually forgive or let go of any expectations and any grievances, that takes your expectations, take your attention into the imaginary future, grievances which arise from expectations, and keep your awareness stuck in the equally unreal past, then your attention must be focused on the present moment. And prayer can become as natural as breathing. So to help you train your mind to pray without ceasing, on more New Age terms, keep your awareness in the now. That's what it really means. And allow yourself to be guided by the Spirit, which is the way we experience perfect, whole, and complete reality, what Yeshua calls the Kingdom of Heaven in A Course in Miracles. Modern philosophers called the ground of being, while still apparently living a human life. Yeshua's given us the daily workbook lessons to do, and I've recorded longer meditations and shorter breath breaks to help you contemplate and apply the powerful ideas they contain. So whenever you do these meditations, you are praying. Prayer is the same as meditation, is the same as letting go at the highest level. They're just different words that point you to the same practice and the same ultimate state of awareness. I think that's really important to realize, because then everything starts collapsing into oneness, and you start making these artificial distinctions. Oh, well, this is prayer and this is meditation, and because prayer is right and meditation's wrong, therefore I'm not going to be open to the meditation. I remember once having a couple who came to one of my meditations I ran in South Africa, and they come all the way about half an hour from a place in the east of Johannesburg, and they walked in, and this lady was so programmed into the sort of very traditional Christian mindset that she couldn't handle that it was in a yoga studio and there were these symbols of Buddha, and she was just like, no, this is all this is all the devil's things, the devil's work, and they left without even doing the meditation, and that was just clearly the programming of the ego into like, well, this is how it has to look, rather than being open to the flow of life and letting go of one's own ideas. Her husband was open to it, but she wasn't. So they, having come all the way, they left straight away. It's kind of funny. Like, okay, you won't even try it. So well, just try it. Sit down and let's do it, and you'll see it's nothing scary. I'm just gonna ask you to, there's nothing actually. I wasn't doing anything religious. I was just going to teach them how to breathe and go into a deeper awareness. But the ego doesn't want that, so chose to leave in that instance and not have that experience. So if you practice these simple but powerful mind training lessons, that you will experientially realize that truth is far beyond the little demands for specific worldly outcomes your ego continuously makes in the name of prayer. And it will seem ridiculous to you that you ever believe this was authentic prayer. To help you let go of your belief in the ego's upside down version of prayer, there's a lovely prayer of surrender here, which we did read. And it's really just saying that I let go. I let go and I let God. My true prayer is that I hand it over and I'm not in charge anymore. Rather than asking for a specific outcome. So bringing prayer into alignment with your practice of letting go is really what the most powerful use of prayer is. So do you want to read this daily prayer to be truly helpful?
Yeah.
I think that might be useful from the course.
Yeah.
From the text, section 5 of chapter 2, called the Special Principles of Miracle Workers. It's a lovely prayer. This is the alternative version of our translated language, but the message is the same, obviously, as the original, just stated in maybe more understandable terms because of the translation. So if you can read that for us, kindly.
Yeah, I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent the pure formless awareness of perfect love within me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because this awareness will direct me. I am content to be wherever it wishes, knowing it goes there with me. I will be healed as I let it teach me to heal.
Oh, so lovely. It's kind of a surrender prayer. There's no intention to get anything particular outcome. It's just to be truly helpful to others, to yourself, and to the environment. And I will be healed. My own interest, which is healing, will happen when I let it teach me to heal. A very, very simple, form of prayer, but one that the ego will find very hard to do, because the ego is always asking for what it thinks it needs, and it focuses on form. says, oh, you need that, so ask for that. Recently, in one of the recent episodes of The Chosen, it was kind of funny because you see this idea of asking. So the two brothers, James and John, their mother was harassing them, saying, no, you need to be like on Jesus's left and right hand side. So you need to ask him, ask him for your place in the kingdom. Like you want to be on either side of him. And when they ask him, he goes, do you even know what you're asking? Do you have any idea? Because they didn't really understand what they were asking. It's like, well, there's no hierarchy in heaven, first of all. It's like there's no like, oh, you're on my left and on my right. It's a ridiculous idea, isn't it? That the hierarchies of this world will carry into heaven. It's a misunderstanding, based on, obviously, on the ego, on the desire for some kind of importance and status. And their mother's going, no, you need to be on his left and his right because you're really important. And it's all just ego nonsense. And, of course, Jesus knows that. He says, do you even know what you're asking? And then he says, because are you willing to go where I'm willing to go? And then he gives his prophecy that he's going to be crucified. And of course, they have no idea about that either. They're like, well, what's he saying? Are you willing to go through that humiliation and pain of the crucifixion to do what's necessary for the at-one-ment in this world? And he said, yes, ultimately you will be. I think they were persecuted, and I'm not sure one of them wasn't crucified. He said, ultimately, but you're not ready yet. You haven't, you're just nowhere close to that yet. So it was just interesting to see that version of prayer coming in. Well, we want to be important, so we want to be on your left or your right hand side, not because we want the kingdom of heaven, but because we want to be important. And that's trying to take the truth into the illusion. Bring the illusion to the truth. The idea that somehow we can be more important than others, and you're trying to take that into the domain of truth, into heaven, and of course it doesn't work because all of those ideas just fall away. They're nonsense. And so then I've given you this. It's about a 5-minute bonus video. It tells the story of a guy called Greg Braden. You might have heard of him. He's quite a well-known spiritual teacher. And he talks about this true nature of prayer by recounting a story where a Native American friend of his went into the desert. He said to Greg, look, there's been a drought in northern New Mexico for years. We're going to go do a rain ceremony, praying for rain. So, Greg's up for it. He says, yeah, great, I'm up for it. So they hike several hours into the desert. They go to the sacred site of the Navajo people, or the Indian people. I can't remember exactly the tribe, but one of those tribes. And the guy just kind of stands in the circle for a few minutes and doesn't really say anything. There's no big song and dance and no ceremony. Greg's kind of waiting around for something to, more spectacular to happen. And then the guy says, right, I think we're done. I'm hungry. Let's go get something to eat. And Greg's like, well, what just happened? What did you do? And the guy says, well, all I did was I imagined the rain is already here. I didn't pray for rain and say, please God, or universal spirits or whatever, bring me rain. I imagined that the rain was already here. So I imagined that, I was standing in the mud and, I was barefoot in the mud and my feet were immersed in mud and water. And I imagined the smell of it, and I imagined the sensation of it on my skin, and that I was completely drenched in this, heavy rain. And I just, I just imagined that for a couple of minutes. And that was my prayer, that it already is so. You see, it's the idea that it's already so. And I just have to go into that state that's already so. And then I help it to come into manifestation on this level of form and in time and space. And Greg was like, okay, well, that's interesting. I haven't really encountered that before. And then they walked out of the desert and they went and got something to eat. And by that stage, it was kind of late afternoon, evening. And then he watched the storm fronts coming in. He followed the weather because he was very interested. And then suddenly there's this big storm front that started developing. And in the early hours of the next morning, a massive amount of rain fell in New Mexico, and it hadn't done for years. And it carried on. Apparently, it was like floods. And he phoned his friend and said, what's happening? And he said, yeah, that's a part of the prayer. I haven't quite got how much. It's like when it doesn't just rain, it pours. So the synchronicity of that is quite extraordinary. The skeptics could say, oh, it's just a complete accident. But what are the chances of that? There's been a drought for years. It hasn't rained for years in the area, or very little. And suddenly, within 24 hours of them doing this prayer ceremony, you get massive rain. I mean, is that accidental? It would be very difficult to see how there couldn't be a causal link. There's some kind of link, the causation between them. Which is the whole point, that when we pray in this way and we access this deeper awareness in ourselves that is already there, and you pray in that way. In this case, it was specific to rain, but it was praying as though the rain was already there. It's like it's a done deal, just in the same way as this higher awareness is already there. You don't have to pray for it; it's already there. You just have to accept it. It's the same idea, isn't it? Do you see that? And that's why it was so spectacularly successful. And the rain came. And it was done in a sacred site. So I believe those are kind of amplifiers into the quantum field. So any thought and emotion gets kind of amplified, and it goes more powerfully into the quantum field, or the universal mind, whatever you call it, in an amplified way, which is why they hiked out to that site. And also, I suppose it makes it, instead of just walking into your back garden and doing it, it makes it more important in your mind. You've had to hike several hours to get there. It's like, okay, I've focused my attention on this for the whole day. So I'm saying to my mind that it's important. It's not just something trivial. And that attention and energy is then also was part of making it happen. And the key thing was that he already accepted that it had happened. In the visualization, he was saying it's already here, and I'm feeling it, so I'm experiencing it as such in a very vivid way. And then it sort of brought that into manifestation in this strange, miraculous way we can't really understand. But that does seem to work, law of attraction, etc. All right. So watch that if you haven't watched Greg Braden's. It's only 5 minutes, and then that will lead you nicely into the Revenge of the Sith, where it talks about how this is used in a negative sense, where the mind starts to desire or pray for something to, in this case, avoid an outcome. And the more that it does that, the more likely it is for the outcome that it wants to avoid to happen, because that's how the mind works. And that's exactly what happens in Revenge of the Sith, which is a story of how this conflicted Jedi warrior named Anakin Skywalker turns to the dark side of the Force. So yeah, watch that. With bearing in mind these principles, Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey is in there, the Buddhist principles of non-attachment, no craving, no aversion. Come in, George Lucas wrote the scripts based on his understanding of Buddhist principles and Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey. And so that's all kind of woven in. If you get beyond the overt storyline and all of the action and the wars, a lot of fighting, then there's these deeper, profound spiritual truths start coming through. So, can highly recommend watching it. It's free, so you can watch it on your computer or phone, free of charge. If you want a better experience, you can pay and watch it on Google Play or Disney Plus. If you have Disney Plus, Disney bought the rights to the whole franchise, Star Wars. So you can watch it as part of your subscription on Disney Plus. Okay, so that brings us nicely to where we are, into our session for today.
Yeah, I think we discussed about the begging a few months back, didn't we? The word supplication.
Yeah.
Remember, yeah, we did have a little, yeah, that's right, the begging, the supplication. Is that the word, supplication? I remember it was a few months back we were talking about it.
Supplication,
it's like a begging rather than a praying. We did just, yeah, it was a good few months ago we discussed it.
Yeah, exactly. Supplication meaning.
Supplication.
Yeah, so these themes, action of asking or begging for something earnestly or humbly.
Yeah, I remember we had
it means supplication. So yeah, the true prayer is really just letting go of any blocks to the awareness of love's presence and saying, well, I have it already. I'm really just surrendering to God. I'm surrendering to this higher awareness and letting it be, letting it come in, rather than I need this, right? If I'm asking for something, I'm begging for something, earnestly or humbly, then I'm still desiring it. It's the starting point, but the ultimate prayer is, no, I must just drop my sense of not being worthy of it, because that's the only thing that blocks it for me. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does, yes. No, I just remember us, talking and that word popped up. Yeah, we did, looked it up, yeah.
Yeah, supplication.
Supplication, yeah.
Whereas the true prayer is surrender. You're not actually asking for anything. You're surrendering to an awareness that's already there, to a reality that's already there. That is really the essence of this whole teaching that differentiates it from other dualistic teachings. Non-dual awareness says it's already there. It always has been there. It always will be there. You can't ever destroy it or affect it in any way. So your only job in this life is to accept it, accept that it's already there in your own mind. And that's the true prayer. So letting go leads to that acceptance of reality as it is, and of your source as it is, and of yourself as you are. And that's all we do. When we let go, we are truly praying to God. But it's an interesting perspective on prayer. It's not one that you'll see commonly made, is it? Because the conventional awareness or consciousness says, if you want something, you've got to go and get it. You've got to seek it. And then you're looking and you're looking, and the more you desire something, the more you're saying, I don't have it. You see the paradox of it. That's what the Buddha noticed. The more my prayer is, no, I need this. Please, oh, please, God, give this. And I'm, really earnestly asking for it. The more I'm saying, I don't have it already. Otherwise, I wouldn't keep asking for it, would I? And so I'm actually denying, contradicting that which I'm asking for. You see that? So the answer is, again, letting go of forgiveness, drops all of that and accepts what it is, accepts the truth of what you are instead, and experientially comes to know that as your own true reality. All right. So any other thoughts on any of this, Elaine?
Yeah, no, that's very clear.
Yeah. So you're clear on what true prayer is?
Yes.
Okay, do you want to explain it back to me in a minute or so?
Well, prayer is coming from within, and the other one is begging.
Yeah. It's asking for something. And what you do when you ask for something is there's an automatic assumption in the mind that you don't have it. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to ask, would you?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a paradox there. The more you ask for it, the more you're saying, I don't have it. The more you perpetuate the state of lack. Well, I don't have it. But I keep craving. I keep asking, but never being satisfied. This is the essence of suffering. The Buddha. Whereas if you simply accept that it's already there, then there's no craving because it's already there, and you become aware of it as it is in truth. Okay, so this leads us very nicely into our lesson. It's another review lesson, the last one in the series of 10 we just finished. This is the last one today. So let's dive into that, shall we? So I rest in perfect love. Why am as perfect love extends me. So read it, each one in the original and then the alternative version below, kindly.
I rest in God. I rest in God today and let him work in me and through me while I rest in him in quiet and in perfect certainty. Alternatively, I rest in perfect love. I rest in perfect love today and let it work in and through me while I rest in it in quiet and perfect certainty.
Okay, so thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's very, straight to the point. Yes, it's a nice affirmation.
Yeah, so it's claiming, you see this kind of prayer. What you're saying is, I have it already. I am as God created me. Well, that's the second one. And so I rest in this. I rest in God, or I rest in pure formless awareness of perfect love. And I haven't put pure formless awareness of perfect love because it becomes long. But if I rest in perfect love, then I have it already. I don't need to seek what I already have. We make it present tense, not I will rest. No, I do rest. I rest in perfect love. And let it work in and through me while I rest in it in quiet and perfect certainty. And so this is the essence of the flow state. I'm in a calm, peaceful awareness, and I'm guided and I'm flowing forward, and I rest in this quiet, peaceful, perfectly certain state without judgment, without attachment. I'm not attached to an outcome. I don't know, even while we work in the world of outcomes and form, it's our attachment to it that is the problem, if we're honest about it. If I desire an outcome and then the outcome is being threatened, and I have that expectation, then I suffer because now my expectation is being violated and I feel like I'm disappointed. And then I can have a grievance because my expectation wasn't met. And of course, all of that just disturbs your peace. You're no longer resting in perfect love. You're disturbed by the mind and its interpretations of a false reality. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas these words, I mean, I love this lesson. This is one of my favorite because it's so simple. 4 words: I rest in God, or I rest in perfect love. 5 words. That's why I kept it short and didn't put in pure formless awareness of, because that's another 4 words. The power of it is it's such a simple, short statement. Rest in perfect love today, and let it work through in and through me while I rest in it in quiet and perfect certainty. So it's calling us to take this perfect love into whatever we do and not lose our connection with it. We remain rooted in this quiet, peaceful, calm, perfectly certain state. And then everything kind of happens in that state. That's our underlying base state of rest, of peace. And when we pray without ceasing, as the Apostle Paul says, then we are resting in that state. That's what he means. We come back into that awareness. We rest in that state as our default state, irrespective of what seems to be happening on the level of form. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Very, very much in alignment with the idea of true prayer. All right, so I'm going to read the next one. I am as God created me, and the alternative below that.
I am as God created me. I am as perfect love extends me. I am God's son. Today I lay aside all sick illusions of myself and let my Father tell me who I really am. I am perfect love's extension. Today I let go of all sick illusions of myself and let my source tell me who I really am.
Thoughts on that?
Yeah, another nice affirmation. Yeah.
It's repeated a number of times. There's 3 or 4 lessons that are essentially the same. I'm as God created me. God creates me like itself. Love creates me like itself. You know, it's repeated. Same idea, just stated in slightly different words. 3 or 4 times in the different workbook lessons because it's such a key idea. So I am the extension of perfect love, and anything else is just false. All sick illusions of myself, and let my source tell me who I really am. And so I rest in that being. I rest in that sense of I am, that I am. First name of God in the Bible. What Moses asked this presence in the burning bush, what it was, and it said, I am that I am. That was what came to him. So it's foundational. It's first principles of what God is. Just an awareness that I am. And nothing else. I am that I am. So, any other thoughts on that one, Elaine?
No, that's good. Good.
And they go nicely together. So you could say, I rest in perfect love because I am as perfect love extends me. Makes complete sense. You know, the one is related to the other. So you can play around with doing that. He suggests practice on the hour, and then every half hour, even if it's just for a few seconds, and you remind yourself, I rest in perfect love. You know, just saying those words to yourself can change your state. I rest in perfect love. And you can feel as you say those words that there's a peace that comes across you, comes over you in your awareness, can't you? I rest in perfect love. And you can just kind of drop into that. Okay, so I rest in God, or I rest in perfect love. And I am as God created me, or I am as perfect love extends me. We could add in pure formless awareness of perfect love if you want to add in, but I think that diminishes the power of it. Power is that it's so short. You know, these are short sweet statements of the truth that are easy to remember. Okay, so we practice this in a 10 or 15-minute meditation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can do a bit of text.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's good.
into the med. Okay, so let's make yourself comfortable. Sitting with your feet shoulder width apart and your back straight. Cup your hands in your lap, or keep your hands palms facing outwards, upwards on your thighs. Close your eyes. Start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So you're breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. And the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. And just pausing at the top of the inhale. You can give your sphincter muscle a little squeeze. It locks the energy in. Helps the energy to kind of pump up the spine. As you do that breathing in, so you might feel a little warm wave of energy rising up into your heart center. Put one hand in your heart. And then drawing the energy up into the crown of your head. Nice full deep inhale. Maximal inhale breath. Hold the breath briefly. Now just scan your mind. So you're going to notice any thoughts and emotions that are at all disturbing to your peace. Could be a little bit of anger, irritation, frustration. Fear. And just observe all of that and remind yourself the truth. That I rest in God. I rest in perfect love. I rest in loving awareness. Your formless awareness of perfect love. I rest in this loving awareness. And sink inwards to that truth. You can exhale and let go of anything that blocks this awareness. Imagine you blowing out any negativity, that's fear, anger, upset of any kind, just letting it go with the breeze of your breath, blowing it out into the nothingness that it really is. Going, gone. Telling yourself, I rest in perfect love. And in that perfect state of rest, you can realize that you are as perfect love extends you. Say, I am as God created me, or I am as perfect love extends me. I am just this loving awareness. I am loving awareness. That awareness is in me right now. It extends into my mind from my source, which is the very source of that awareness. And I experience that awareness now as my present state. So just breathing in and out. Nice deep, slow breaths in and out through your nose. Say, I am. As perfect love extends me. I am this loving awareness. And there's really nowhere else to go than this awareness, and there's nothing else to do but be in this awareness for the next couple of minutes of deep silence. So just breathe, observe the breath, relax. Focus your attention on the breath to keep your mind singular, avoiding distracting thoughts. Say, I rest in God, or I rest in perfect love, because I am as God created me, or I am as perfect love extends me right now, sometime in the past or the future, right now, in this present moment, which is all there really is. There is no other time than now. I am as perfect love extends me, and I rest in that loving awareness. Now and eternally, claim that state for yourself. This is the true prayer. This is who you really are. In your loving awareness. So just know that experientially. Give yourself a couple of minutes of deep silence just to rest in this awareness, rest in God, rest in this loving awareness for the next 2 minutes or so of deep silence. And so just coming back now from this deep awareness, you can bring some of your awareness back into the body, the breath, and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in. Noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, and subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. When you pause at the top of the inhale, when you smile, scan your mind, notice any thoughts, emotions, related body sensations going on. And say, I rest in God. I rest in perfect love. I rest in loving awareness, is what you're saying. Because I am as this perfect love, this loving awareness extends me. When you exhale, any residual blocks to this awareness out, you let them go and blow them away with the breeze of your breath. The nothingness that they really are. From the lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And you rest in this loving awareness. The count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair and your feet touching the ground. Noticing what you're feeling with your hands and touching. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, smell in your nose. Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. So noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state of mind without illusions, in which only the truth is true. Anchor this state in to your awareness. You're going to stay in this state of loving awareness, connected to your source, for the rest of the session and the afternoon and evening. To help you do that, you can top yourself up by practicing the lesson. You can do that by listening to a breath break. So I sent you one every half hour for the first lesson, and every hour for the second, or vice versa, however you want to do it, just to top yourself up and stay in this sacred state of awareness, the loving awareness that you are, resting in a state of perfect love and loving awareness. So it is said, and so it is done. On the count of 3 now, just open your eyes. Just take a moment to look around and observing various objects in the room in this state of loving awareness. Notice that underlying all the objects is just this awareness. It doesn't matter what you look at. Look at one object for a few seconds, look at another one. It's the same awareness. Close your eyes. That awareness is still there. Open your eyes. Same awareness. This is what it means to rest in God. You rest in this loving awareness, which is your own true awareness. And it's the awareness that can never depart from you. It's the one thing you cannot lose in this world because it's what you are. which is what the second review lesson says. I am as God created me. I am as perfect love extends me. I.e., you are this awareness. So I hope this meditation has helped you to connect with that awareness and experience it as your own awareness, which is the whole point of any spiritual practice, and to maintain that awareness ongoing for the rest of the afternoon and evening. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the meditation. So let's dive into our text, shall we? That's fairly short today, just 6 paragraphs. 6 paragraphs of text. This one is called "The End of Doubt." So if you can read that, Elaine, in the original and the alternative kindly. It's a bit to translate here. Spirit, God, the Holy Instant.
Actually, what I did, yeah. What I did like the last time is you doing it, because it seemed to amplify it. It seemed to go in more. So, you know, when you did the original and I did I found that beneficial, actually. Yes.
Me reading the original.
Yeah, rather than me being
okay. Yeah. We could do it.
Yeah, that's
we
better.
Could do it that way.
Tends to go in more, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas my voice is a bit repetitive. Yeah. So that's good, yeah. Okie doke.
Okay, so I'll read it.
Yeah.
And then I'll read the original.
And then I'll do the next. The alternative. Yeah.
You read the alternative. Okay.
Yeah.
So the end of doubt, which will be the same. Obviously, the section's all about ending doubt. So the atonement or the at-one-ment is in time, but not for time.
The at-one-ment is in time, but not for time.
Being in you, it is eternal.
Being in me, it is eternal.
What holds remembrance of God cannot be bound by time.
What remembers perfect love cannot be bound by time.
No more are you.
No more am I.
For unless God is bound, you cannot be.
For unless pure formless awareness of perfect love is bound, I cannot be.
I cannot be. You say instead of bound, limited, maybe.
Yeah.
An instant offered to the Holy Spirit is offered to God on your behalf. And in that instant, you will awaken gently in Him.
A moment in which I remember perfect love will bring an experience of pure formless awareness into my awareness, and I will awaken gently in that moment.
In the blessed instant, you will let go all your past learning, and the Holy Spirit will quickly offer you the whole lesson of peace.
In the blessed moment, I will let go of all my past learning, and the remembrance of perfect love will quickly offer me the whole lesson of peace.
What can take time when all the obstacles to learning it have been removed?
What can take time when all the obstacles to learning this lesson have been removed?
Truth is so far beyond time that all of it happens at once.
Truth is so far beyond time that all of it happens at once.
For as it was created one, so its oneness depends not on time at all.
For as it is and always has been one, so its oneness does not depend on time at all. From the top.
Yeah.
The at-one-ment is in time, but not for time. Being in me, it is eternal. What remembers pure formless awareness of perfect love cannot be bound by time. No more am I. For unless the pure formless awareness of perfect love is limited, I cannot be. The moment in which I remember perfect love will bring on an experience of pure formless awareness into my awareness, and I will awaken gently in that moment. In the blessed moment, I will let go of all my past learning, and the remembrance of perfect love will quickly offer me the whole lesson of peace. What can take time when all the obstacles to learning this lesson have been removed? Truth. Yeah. Right. Truth is so far beyond time that all of it happens at once. For as it is and always has been one, so its oneness does not depend on time at all.
So what's he saying in this one?
It's just all about time. While we're in this pure formless awareness, we're not bound by time. And in this moment, this blessed moment, if we can let go of all our past learning, and this remembrance of perfect love will quickly offer us the lesson of peace. What can take time when there's obstacles to learning this lesson has been removed. So it's just all the, once the obstacles are removed, then there we are, out of time, in the truth of who we are, which is perfect love and oneness. And that does not depend on time.
Oneness does not depend on time at all. It's already there. This is the teaching. If it's eternal, it must be there already. That's the whole idea of eternity. It's not something that's going to happen in the future or the past. It's there now. So it happens all at once. That awareness is there. What he's really trying to say is the awareness is there all the time. So no matter what happens in time and what seems to change, because time is all about change and a perception of change, this awareness is always there. And when we have a glimpse of that awareness, we go into this holy instant or this moment of awareness. What he's talking about is a Satori moment. Then you remember in that awareness, you get a glimpse of what this the true state of your awareness is. This is what he's talking about in this passage. And when you have that moment, it's the end of doubt, because you suddenly know experientially. You know that it must be the case because you've experienced it. He's talking about a mystic awakening to get a glimpse of this awareness in a moment that's been called Satori, or the holy instant, or awakening, an awakening experience, or revelation. There's many names for it. Okay, so let's crack on with it.
Yeah.
And I'll read it in the original. You read in the alternative, number 2.
Yep.
So do not be concerned with time, and fear not the instant of holiness that will remove all fear.
I need not be concerned with time and should not fear the moment of pure formless awareness that will remove all fear.
For the instant of peace is eternal because it is without fear.
The moment of peace is eternal because it is without fear.
It will come, being the lesson God gives you, through the teacher he has appointed to translate time into eternity.
It will come, being the lesson pure formless awareness of perfect love gives me, through the teacher it has kept in my awareness to translate time into eternity.
Blessed is God's teacher, whose joy it is to teach God's holy Son his holiness.
Blessed is the teacher of perfect love, whose joy it is to teach perfect love's extension, its pure formless awareness.
His joy is not contained in time.
The joy of this remembrance is not contained in time.
His teaching is for you because his joy is yours.
Its teaching is for me because its joy is mine.
Through him you stand before God's altar, and he gently translates hell into heaven.
Through it I stand before perfect love's foundation, where it gently translates victimhood and suffering into the state of pure formless awareness.
For it is only in heaven that God would have you be.
For it is only in the state that pure formless awareness of perfect love intends me to be. And then from the top.
It is only in this state, in heaven.
Yeah.
State of pure awareness. Yeah, from the top.
Yeah. I need not be concerned with time and should not fear the moment of pure formless awareness that will remove all fear. For the moment of peace is eternal because it's without fear. It will come, being the lesson pure formless awareness of perfect love gives me. Through the teacher, it has kept my awareness to translate time into eternity. Blessed is the teacher of perfect love, whose joy it is to teach perfect love's extension of pure formless awareness. The joy of this remembrance is not contained in time. Its teaching is for me because its joy is mine. Through it, I stand before perfect love's foundation, where it gently translates victimhood and suffering into the state of pure formless awareness. For it is only in this state that pure formless awareness of perfect love intends me to be. So it's just saying for us not to be concerned with time and not fear this pure formless awareness, because that is actually going to remove all our fear. So for that moment of peace, of eternal, it's eternal because it's without fear.
Yeah.
It's just basically all not contained in time. And it translates victimhood and suffering into this state of pure formless awareness. And this is what it intends for all of us.
Yeah, and that's not a state. You see, time is really just a perception of change, isn't it? The only way we know something time has elapsed is we have a change from one circumstance to another. Oh, okay, so this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. And so you get some kind of idea of a linear sequence, don't you?
Mm.
But that's not really true, because it's actually always now, and this awareness is always there. So no matter what seems to change in time, in this changeable awareness that we've invented, this fundamental awareness remains the same. That's eternity. So underlying time is this eternal awareness, and our job is simply to become aware of this awareness while time seems to go by. We're still gonna have a perception in this world of change. Inevitably, that's the law of this world, isn't it? Everything's changing all the time, moment by moment, second by second. things are changing. But if you stay rooted in your underlying awareness, then you realize that nothing's really changing because your awareness doesn't change at all. Your fundamental awareness. And that's what it means to rest in God, to rest in this fundamental awareness. And there's a lot of peace and certainty in this awareness because you're no longer in changeable awareness. It's like no longer things are changing all the time. No, this is the one awareness that never changes. And so there's certainty and there's peace and there's security in an awareness that is unchangeable, even while everything around you seems to be changing. It's just don't react to it as though it's changing. That's the key. It's how you react to these changing circumstances of time that defines you. And if you react to them and make them real, then you're basically denying your true awareness. You're saying, no, I'm not that awareness. I'm the awareness of change. And that things in time can affect me. And I become very reactive then to what happens in time rather than rooted in my true awareness that's beyond time. Okay. So okay to move on to number 3?
Yep, yeah.
How long can it take to be where God would have you?
How long can it take to be with pure formless awareness of perfect love wills me to be?
Make that once, shall we? For you are where you have forever been and will forever be.
For I am where I have forever been and will forever be.
In this awareness we're talking about. So all that you have forever.
All that I have forever.
The blessed instant reaches out to encompass time as God extends himself to encompass you.
The blessed moment reaches out to encompass time as pure formless awareness of perfect love extends itself to encompass me.
You who have spent days, hours, and even years enchaining your brothers to your ego in an attempt to support it and uphold its weakness, do not perceive the source of strength.
Just needs to be moved here. I who have spent days, hours, and even years enchaining other people to my belief in separation in an attempt to support it and uphold its weakness, do not perceive the source of strength.
And I'll make it cannot perceive. Cannot perceive the source of my strength. In this holy instant, you will unchain all your brothers and refuse to support either their weakness or your own.
In this holy aware moment, I will release everyone and refuse to support either their weaknesses or my own. Dave, I'm not going to be too long. Clock stopped.
And then if you read that from the top in the alternative.
Yeah. How long can it take to be where pure formless awareness of perfect love wants me to be? For I am where I have forever been and will forever be. All that I have forever. The blessed moment reaches out to encompass time as pure formless awareness of perfect love extends itself to encompass me. Oh, I'd like to say I'll only be about 20 minutes, love. I won't be long. Oh, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
Back. Sorry, Len.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Out there briefly. So let's go
Yeah.
back into this. Number 3, if you can read this. Let's just share my screen again. Where are we? Zoom is here. Okay. Just going to share screen. We want that. We want that. So if you can read number 3, an alternative from the top.
Yeah. Well, did most of it, but anyway, I'll do it again. Yeah. How long can it take to be where pure formless awareness of perfect love wants me to be? For I am where I have forever been and will forever be. All that I have forever. The blessed moment reaches out to encompass time as pure formless awareness of perfect love extends itself to encompass me. I, who have spent days, hours, even years in chaining other people to my belief in separation in an attempt to support it and uphold its weakness, cannot perceive the source of my strength. In this wholly aware moment, I will release everyone and refuse to support either their weakness or my own.
Okay. So thoughts on that?
But just while we're in this pure formless awareness of perfect love, we're perfect, and it's saying that we no longer want to support our belief in separation and uphold other people's weaknesses and to let that go and to refuse to support it and to be in this wholly aware moment and let all the rest go. Chaining all these years we've spent chaining ourselves to other people in this crazy separation.
And that's how it gets reinforced. You know, everyone believes in separation, and then you use everyone to confirm your own identity, your own separate identity and your own belief in separation. And if they play the same game, what you have then is a special relationship, which is designed to maintain the integrity of the ego's thought system and designed to exclude the Holy Spirit. And then relationships don't work. And it's very painful, and there's a lot of suffering until you realize that, you know, that's just not going to work. That you need to let go. Even if the other person still believes in that game, you need to let go of that game and stop playing that game because it's not helping either of you. And that's your job as a miracle worker, is to hold that awareness, stop playing the ego's games. To support your ego and to support time, you know, the continuation of time. And think about, you know, what happens in this world. Without any of the ego games and the dramas, would there be a need for time? We'd all just be chilling out in pure formless awareness of perfect love together. There would be no need for any of the dramas that happen in this world, would there?
Yeah.
So it's the end of the human experience. It's the end of the drama. And of course, the ego is addicted to the drama, so it doesn't want it. It doesn't want to end the drama. It wants to carry on in the drama and perpetuate it and keep the misery and the pain and the suffering of the drama going, because that gives it a separate identity and it keeps time going.
Yeah.
But you know, you've got to let that go to find eternity. All right. So number 4, you do not realize how much you have misused your brothers by seeing them as sources of ego support.
I do not realize how much I have misused my companions by perceiving them as sources of support for my belief in separation.
As a result, they witness to the ego in your perception and seem to provide reasons for not letting it go.
As a result, they confirm their belief in separation in my perception and seem to provide reasons for not letting it go.
Yet they are far stronger. They are far stronger and much more compelling witnesses for the Holy Spirit.
Yet they are far stronger and much more compelling witnesses for the remembrance of perfect love.
And they support his strength.
And they support its strength.
It is therefore your choice whether they support the ego or the Holy Spirit in you. Number 5, Elaine?
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Right. Number 5. Therefore, it is my choice whether they support the belief in separation or the remembrance of perfect love in me.
Yeah. And you will recognize which you have chosen by their reactions.
And I will recognize which belief in separation or the remembrance of perfect love in me.
I'll recognize which I've chosen by their reactions. It can be the same.
Oh, yeah,
Thank
it's,
you.
yeah.
Got confused.
And I will recognize which I have chosen by their reactions.
A son of God who has been released through the Holy Spirit and a brother is always recognized.
I can always recognize an extension of perfect love who has been released through the remembrance of perfect love in a companion.
He cannot be denied.
I cannot deny it.
If you remain uncertain, it is only because you have not given complete release.
If I remain uncertain, it is only because I have not completely released my companion from my misuse of our relationship to confirm my belief in separation.
Now, it's very profound what he's saying. And because of this, you have not given a single instant completely to the Holy Spirit.
And because of this, I have not remembered perfect love completely in any moment.
But when you have, you'll be sure you have.
But when I have, I will be sure I have.
You'll be sure because the witness to him will speak so clearly of him that you will hear and understand.
I will be sure because the witness to it will speak so clearly of it that I will hear and understand.
You will doubt until you hear one witness whom you have wholly released through the Holy Spirit.
I will doubt until I hear one witness whom I have wholly released through the remembrance of perfect love.
And then I will doubt no more. And then you will doubt no more.
And then I will doubt no more.
Okay, from the top in the alternative.
I do not realize how much I have misused my companions by perceiving them as sources of support for my belief in separation. As a result, they confirm the belief in separation is my perception and seem to provide reasons for not letting it go. Yet they are far stronger and much more compelling witnesses for the remembrance of perfect love, and they support its strength. Therefore, it is my choice whether they support the belief in separation or the remembrance of perfect love in me, and I will recognize which I have chosen by their reactions. I can always recognize an extension of perfect love who has been released through the remembrance of perfect love in a companion. I cannot deny it. If I remain uncertain, it is only because I have not completely released my companion from my misuse of our relationship to confirm my belief in separation. And because of this, I have not remembered perfect love completely in any moment. For when I have, I will be sure I have. I will be sure because the witness to it will speak so clearly of it that I will hear and understand. I will doubt until I hear one witness who I have wholly released through the remembrance of perfect love, and then I will doubt no more. Yeah.
Okay, so what's he saying in there?
Could you just move it down a bit? Well, our companions are a mirror of us. And so when we've released this belief in separation and letting go, then that will reflect on our companion. So then there's many examples here. But we just need one. So once we've let go and chosen the remembrance of perfect love, then we just look at our companion's reaction, and then there will then give us certainty, and then we will no longer doubt.
Yeah, it doesn't mean they're suddenly going to become enlightened and perfect, but it means you interpret whatever they do within from the context of now perfect love. So it's either love or it's a cry for love. They might still be behaving in unconscious, unkind ways, but you see it differently. And when you do that with one person, then you have accepted the at-one-ment for everyone, because it's a state of awareness. If you can do it with one person, you can do it with everyone.
So somebody that you don't particularly like, if you can put all the grievances to one side and see the true self of them, you do that with that one person, then all your other people that you, cherish a grievance for, you'll do the same for them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same process. And if you can do it for one, you can do it for everyone, because it's the same idea. And it doesn't really matter who they are on the level of form or what they've done. It's the same. It's all an illusion. And you've just got to see through the illusion that the person presents. I mean, I'm not saying this is easy. It's difficult. So the hardest thing to do, because the person just seems to be stubbornly persistent in their negativity. Oh my God, are they ever going to get it? And why don't they change? And like, why don't they wake up? And come on, like, what can I do to awaken them? And on it goes in your own mind. But actually, it's just your own perception that needs to change.
Right.
And that can happen anytime you want it to, because it's entirely within your own control as to when you change it, isn't it? It doesn't really rely on them at all changing. It's just your own perception changing.
Yeah.
And that's the simple truth. That's the key to all of this. Okay, it'll change when I choose to change it, because I've changed my mind about it. The person might continue to behave in certain ways, but the way I perceive it will be different, because I've decided that it's going to be different. So, very profound. It means that every brother, every companion offers you the chance to awaken, if you perceive it correctly, right now. And the most difficult person in your life is generally the person who offers you the greatest opportunity to awaken, because they're the ones who push your buttons the most, and the ones you judge the most, and the ones your ego really hangs on to and says, well, the problem is you. But the problem is not them. The problem is the thought system of separation that they represent. Do you see? They are just being played by the ego. The ego is using them to perpetuate its insane system. And then it's your choice to believe that or not. If you believe it, then the drama continues. If you don't, and you let it go with the help of the remembrance of perfect love, then you help yourself and the other person awaken from this nightmare. All right, so number 5, holiness has not yet happened to you, yet it will. Sorry, yeah, carry on.
The holy aware moment has not yet happened to me.
Yet it will, and you will recognize it with perfect certainty.
Yet it will, and I will recognize it with perfect certainty.
No gift of God is recognized in any other way.
No gift of perfect love is recognized in any other way.
You can practice the mechanics of the holy instant, and will certainly learn much from doing so.
I can practice the letting go that leads to the holy aware moment, and will learn much from doing so.
Yet its shining and glittering brilliance, which will literally blind you to this world by its own vision, you cannot supply.
Yet I cannot supply its shining and glittering brilliance, which will literally blind me to this world by its own vision.
Maybe we should change that to radiant awareness. I cannot supply its radiant awareness, which will literally blind me to this world by its own vision. And here it is, all in this instant, complete, accomplished, and given wholly.
And here it is, all in this moment, complete, accomplished, and given wholly. From the top, the wholly aware moment has not yet happened to me. Yet it will, and will recognize it with perfect certainty. No gift of perfect love is recognized in any other way. I can practice the letting go that leads to the wholly aware moment, and will learn much from doing so. Yet I cannot supply its radiant awareness, which will literally blind me to the world by its own vision. And here it is, given wholly, complete, accomplished in this moment. So it's just saying that this wholly aware moment hasn't happened for us just yet, but with the gift of just letting go, then this leads us to can lead us to the wholly aware moment.
Yeah,
but
we've talked about this before. You know, you haven't had necessarily like, oh wow, like that was like a revelation, and I went into this awareness. You've had glimpses of it, you've had peace, but he's saying it will happen in time. Just, you know, you keep practicing the mechanics of it. What does he mean by that? I translated that as keep practicing letting go. The mechanics of the holy instant are letting go moment by moment of any of the blocks to this awareness. And if you keep doing that, then at some point it will be revealed. You know, it will just happen. You cannot supply it. It just kind of breaks through, and it happens when it's meant to happen. And you'll have what would be called a mystic experience, a satori moment, or a revelation. And it happens when you're ready. And, you know, it'll happen in good time. In its perfect time.
Can't force it. Yeah.
So you keep practicing, you keep doing the mechanics. You like the good mechanic is like you keep practicing your craft, which is letting go. And then, you know, at some point fireworks can appear. At some point, you know, you get a gift of grace and it all takes fire. And on the mechanic analogy, suddenly, you know, you've got a turbocharged engine and a Maserati or a Ferrari, and you see it go and you're like, wow, that's amazing. Like all of my mechanical work is, you know, has come into, and I just see it in action, and it's amazing and mind-blowing. And, you know, it's the same idea. It will happen for you when you're ready. But in the meantime, you just keep practicing.
Letting go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the mechanics of it. And then you're doing the best that you can. And you know, that moment of the holy instant will come when you're ready.
Of course,
simple as that.
Can't force. Yeah, no, I understand that.
Okay, so and it could be around the corner. It could be tomorrow. It could be, you know, later this evening. You just don't know. Any moment it would arise if you keep practicing.
In any place, anywhere. Yeah.
All right, so number 6, which is the last one. Start now to practice your little part in separating out the holy instant.
I start now to practice my little part in acknowledging the wholly aware moment.
You will receive very specific instructions as you go along.
I will receive very specific instructions as I go along.
To learn to separate out this single second and to experience it as timeless is to begin to experience yourself as not separate.
To learn to separate out this single second and to experience it as timeless is to begin to experience myself as not separate.
Fear not that you will not be given help in this.
I am certain that I will be given help in this.
God's teacher and his lesson will support your strength.
The remembrance of perfect love and its lesson will support my strength.
It is only your weakness that will depart from you in this practice, for it is the practice of the power of God in you.
It is only my weakness that will depart from me in this practice, for it is the practice of the power of perfect love in me.
Use it but for one instant, and you'll never deny it again.
If I use it for one moment, I will never deny it again.
Who can deny the presence of what the universe bows to in appreciation and gladness?
Who can deny the presence of what the universe bows to in appreciation and joy?
True universe. Let's say, so before the recognition of the universe that witnesses to it, your doubts must disappear.
My doubts must disappear before the recognition of the reality that witnesses to this presence. And from the top, I start now to practice my little part in acknowledging the wholly aware moment. I will receive very specific instructions as I go along. To learn to separate out this single second and to experience it as timeless is to begin to experience myself as not separate. I am certain that I will be given help in this. The remembrance of perfect love and its lesson will support my strength. It is only my weakness that will depart from me in this practice, for it is the practice of the power of perfect love in me. If I use it for only one moment, I will never deny it again. Who can deny the presence of what true reality acknowledges in appreciation and joy? My doubts must disappear before the recognition of the reality that witnesses to this presence. So it's just saying that, just with the continual practice, it will help us reach this wholly aware moment.
Yeah, so he's holding out, he's saying this is all possible, but keep practicing letting go. And when you practice letting go, you come into the now. The more you come into an awareness of the now, the more likely you are to have this experience he's talking about, the holy instant, where you just in a moment get it. And my own experience has been, I practiced for many years and I didn't get it for many years, and then eventually it just came. I'd done 9 days of meditation, so I've done a lot of preparation, a lot of mechanics to get there, and then cool, bang, and then suddenly I'm like, okay, I get it. Like I actually understand.
Do you have the need to have it again, though? Do you feel like you would wish for it again, or is it just that was sufficient for you to realize you've understand it?
I'm not like craving it. It's like whatever, well, it was enough. I got the glimpse that I needed. The truth was confirmed. Why do I need it again? As he says, the end of doubt is like, well, I had the experience.
Right.
I can't doubt it. I don't. Why do I need it again to confirm? Why do I need double confirmation? I had.
You'd explained
it
it was just when you said John's friend had this experience 20 years ago, but he unfortunately went in depression because he couldn't get it back. So that's interesting.
But I think what he hadn't done was a lot of the preparation work that I'd done. I'd done 18 years, 15 years of really background work, all the mechanics. Okay, I've been practicing forgiveness. I've been learning about the theory and understanding the metaphysics, and so I could. Then the experience happened, and it kind of framed everything that I'd done. It was like, okay, I get it now experientially.
Right.
And maybe he didn't have that. So he had a glimpse, and then he was like, well, I don't really understand what that glimpse was. And I don't
Right.
understand how to get back to it. And then I just fall into depression because it seems like elusive and I can't find it and I can't get it back. And I'm just
Mhm.
seeking the spiritual high, but I'm not prepared to do the work, the mechanics. I'm not prepared to do that letting go work to allow that experience to happen again. And that's probably a summation of what happened.
Yeah.
Whereas, I'd done all the mechanics and like built the foundation, and then the experience came on top of that. And then it was like, okay, that makes sense of everything. The theory was shown to be true in my own experience of it.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like realization dropped and landed, and it all came together in that moment of Satori, and I got it. But would I've got it if I hadn't had all of the 15 years of work, and probably more, 20 years maybe, of real, quite deep spiritual practice and training leading up to that? Maybe not. It was
Mm.
like two components. The one was the pure awareness, and then the second was like a download of all this, and it all just came together and made sense in that downloading moment of like,
Yeah.
okay,
All
I'm
the
kind
way.
of understanding what the course is saying now. And experience, it just allowed me to kind of coalesce it, and the jigsaw puzzle is completed, and I just get it. And that all happened in, a few minutes of awareness.
Yeah.
Would that have happened if I hadn't done the mechanics of it? Probably not. So I think there's a lot to be said for building a solid foundation. You practice, and you kind of sticking and plodding at it to an extent. And then, when an experience like this he's describing happens, you get it on a deeper level. And everything you've
Yeah.
studied
That makes sense. Because I
makes
think when I
sense.
was a child, I had a couple of these little sort of
Yeah,
glimpses, because you're not weighed down with blocks.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but I never really gave it a thought. Well, I did,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I was aware of it,
Yeah,
never forget
you
it.
didn't understand it. You had no
Yeah, that's
context.
right. But it was very beautiful. But yes, I was
Yeah,
floating. Yeah,
yeah,
floating.
yeah,
So, but I
yeah,
never, just never gave it a thought, apart from
yeah,
very pleasant experience. Yeah,
yeah.
but hadn't done any
Whereas,
groundwork.
whereas now, if you had that experience, you would go, okay, I get it much more. I understand what that was.
Yeah,
I
because I've done a bit of
understand,
groundwork. Yeah,
but yeah, because I've done the groundwork. I understand the significance of it. I understand the meaning of it. And
yeah,
it's just a confirmation, experiential confirmation of what I already know by my studying and my faith to be true. It confirms it.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
it will come in time. You keep doing this, I have no doubt. You will have an experience or experiences of this, which then are designed to confirm your faith and say, okay, now you can really understand and really accept.
Well, I have got
Um,
a faith, but more. Yeah, yes, I've had the nice peace and that sort of peaceful, vibrant peace. But the Satori moment, no. But I think there's so many other people have had it that they can't all be lying. So
yeah,
that also gives me
yeah,
confidence.
yeah,
So
exactly.
there's a
Others have
few,
done it, so can
yeah,
you do it.
there's a witness like yourself and many others that have. So
Mm,
that gives me confidence because I can't. This, they can't all be lying. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So that's where my practical mind comes in. But it's not
yeah.
from the mind, of course. I know we've got to get rid of the mind first before we get this
Yeah, well,
experience.
this is the remembrance. There's a memory, and you're willing to have the faith, and then your faith in time will be justified. You'll get it confirmed in experience and in time, but that can take time, and you don't know when
Yeah,
that
yeah.
time's going to be.
Oh
So
no, no. Well,
in the
yeah, no, I'm
meantime,
not.
you practice
Yeah,
the mechanics.
yeah, no, I'm
Mm,
not. I'm just going with the flow with that. I'm not expecting
yeah,
any
yeah.
fireworks. So if that happens, well,
Which is the
great. But
correct attitude. If you expect fireworks, you're going to be disappointed.
yeah, yeah,
All
no, I'm
right,
just.
so
Yeah. Oh
let's.
yes.
I've got to go in about 5 minutes, so let's just wrap it
Yeah,
up with the summary.
yeah.
Let's read
One
that.
paragraph at a time. Do you do one paragraph at a time like the last time? So I'm not
Yeah,
alone.
yeah. Just read it, and then I've got to go in 10 minutes, so reflect on it briefly, and
Right.
then
So
carry on.
is that all right if we do a paragraph each? So I'm not alone.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So I'll read the first one. So the one
Yeah.
moment, which is remembrance of perfect love, exists beyond the confines of time. When I remember perfect love, I tap into an eternal state of pure, formless awareness. In that moment of remembrance, I let go of past learning and experience a profound awakening. Then the obstacles to learning the lesson of peace are removed, and I will understand experientially that the truth transcends time. Okay, so he's talking about this holy instant, some kind of Satori moment, opening into getting a glimpse of eternity.
Yeah.
Next one.
I need not worry about time or fear the moment of pure formless awareness, as it is timeless and devoid of fear. This moment of peace, guided by the teacher of perfect love, translates time into eternity. Through this process, victimhood and suffering are transformed into the state of pure formless awareness that perfect love intends for me. So it's just saying for us not to worry about time, as it's devoid of fear. The moment of peace will be translated into eternity, and the process of victimhood and suffering are transformed into a state of pure formless awareness that's intended for me.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole point of this whole exercise. So the blessed moment is not bound by time. And I've always been where pure formless awareness of perfect love wills me to be. I release others from being sources of support for my belief in separation, recognizing that they can also support the remembrance of perfect love. Their reactions reveal the choice I've made. When I have completely released my companions, I'll be certain of the remembrance of perfect love. So I'm saying, we've got to let go of our own judgment of our companions, because that makes the ego real. When we let go of all of that, then we come back into our true awareness of perfect love.
Yeah.
Be certain of perfect love. Okay, and then the last one, this holy aware moment.
A wholly aware moment, a moment of complete recognition, is yet to happen, but I will unmistakably recognize it when it does. Practicing letting go and experiencing each moment as timeless brings me closer to the awareness that I am not separate. Through this practice, my weaknesses fade away, and the power of perfect love within me strengthens. I am confident that I will receive guidance and support as I embark on this journey. My doubts will vanish in the face of reality that bears witness to the presence of perfect love. So it's just saying about this wholly aware moment. We haven't recognized it yet, but it will come through practicing letting go and experiencing each moment as timeless, being in the now, and it'll get us closer to this awareness and realize we are not separate, we're all one. And we're confident that we'll receive guidance and support on our journey, and doubts will vanish.
Yeah. Basically saying keep calm and carry on, keep working, keep practicing, and the doors will open when you do that. The glimpses will come, but be patient and trust the process, essentially. So that could be the three-line summary, three-word summary: trust the process of this whole lesson, this whole section.
Yeah.
Okay, so just read the key message.
Yeah. I should make the right choice to allow the power and brilliance of the now into my awareness without fear. I can do this when I stop using other people to confirm my belief in separation. I practice my part in the at-one-ment by keeping my attention in the present moment and listening to the specific guidance I received through it. This will help me realize that I am not separate self, but one with the pure formless awareness of perfect love and all its extensions.
Yeah. So final thoughts on that?
A very good lesson. Yeah, no, I mean, it's learning that all of this is we're all one, including the chair and the cup. Everything's one, but
Yeah.
our separate self sees them as separate objects.
Yeah.
So do you see everything as one now after your Satori moment? You know, do you see the cup as you and the...
Well, it's just like there's an underlying awareness that doesn't change. So like you're aware of the objects,
right.
but do I see them really as separate? No, I mean, it's difficult to remember how it was. You know, I think everything is much less separated. Like, yeah, okay, so the cup's still there and you can practically function and you drink out of a cup. But do I think of myself and the cup as separate and focus on, you know, separate objects in my consciousness? No, not really. I don't. It's more of like there's this underlying awareness that's runs through all of it, and you're aware of that awareness.
Right, which is the beginning of the course.
Yeah.
You know, everything I see doesn't mean any. Yeah, and the cup, and
you're aware of that awareness, and that's really all that matters.
Yeah, because I used to be confused, thinking the cup's the same as me. You know, I couldn't quite get that. I was a bit puzzled.
No, it's the underlying awareness. You know, what underlies the cup is the same as you. And so you can't understand on the level of form. You never will.
No,
but awareness underlying it, the reality underlying it, you know, you are that reality, and so is everything.
Yes.
The ground of being. And, you know, that's really the experience that you come to. And the cup continues on this level to seem to be a cup, and it does its thing as a cup. But it doesn't really mean what you thought it meant. It's not, you know, perpetuating the idea of separation.
Yeah. Right. Anyway,
okay, so I got to go, Elaine. I've got to run off.
Cool.
It's got to be somewhere in 15 minutes. So should we call it there? If you'd like to do a session tomorrow evening, we can.
Yeah,
at,
that's good. What about
6 o'clock?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah,
all right.
Great. Okay. See you then.
Tomorrow then. All right.
Namaste. Namaste. Bye.
Bye for now. All right, so that's a wrap for today. Thank you for watching or listening. Do subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this, and head over to lifebuild.com. See the URL below. If you like this material, you can get access to these live sessions and some of the material that I shared, daily quote and the lesson, mini meditation to help you practice the lesson, and the blog post, all on lifebuild.com, sent to you. Subscribe there and you can access it on Telegram. So thanks for listening and watching, and namaste, which means the true self, timeless self, awakened self in me acknowledges and honors that same timeless awakened self in you.